Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Test Flight in the UH-1 Huey, and I'm in the co-pilot station with the flex mount sight, or I'm sorry, the reflex sight enabled, and I'm doing some weapons employment this time around. So let me come back around, make one more pass on these targets out here. And in the previous video, I was doing some gun employment from the pilot station over there with that fixed sight, and now I'm just kind of exploring this side of the co-pilot station. Okay, the pilot has the aircraft. Okay, so let me line it up right there. It's a little bit touchy, you know. I'm controlling it with track IR. So I'm going to, right about there. So, I mean, the key there is to give it the appropriate amount of lead. So, I'm traveling in this direction. The target in relation to me is traveling this direction, so that's the amount of lead that I need to give it. So I aim left and let the rounds just kind of walk. The rounds are naturally going to go to the right of the reticle, and if I had a target over here to the right and I'll bring the aircraft around, I'll take over control of the aircraft. Okay, I've got it. Come around here to the left-hand turn. I'll employ on this target out here. Okay, pilot has the aircraft. Okay, and the opposite is going to be true, so I need to put the reticule to the right. Fire. Okay, it's not as pronounced as maybe I'm... Okay, it's not nearly as pronounced as I thought it was. Well, it's more pronounced as you get to a higher angle, but okay. That's the concept, at least. I think I might have just overdone it, or had it in my mind that you needed to provide more lead. So, especially at short range like that, there's really not much to it. So out here at longer range, you need to provide more lead. So I think that would be perfectly appropriate right there. Yeah, and then if it were over here, yeah, at long range, again, more lead. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and using the reticule and the shape of the reticule to gauge how much lead to give the target, depending on how far they are out and depending on the range and the angle they are off the aircraft. That's going to be the key to this position, firing the guns. And then, of course, if you got something straight ahead. I think it really is just going to come down to trial and error. You know, you have manual control over it, so let me bring it back around to this target area one more time. Okay, autopilot off. I'll make this a left-hand turn since it's easier to do from the co-pilot station. But yeah, if I have something directly out in front of me, you know, it's actually an advantage having the fixed sight over there on the pilot station, because I know that for a given airspeed, or not for a given airspeed, but I know for a given altitude and a given slant range, that I'm going to have a specific sight setting available that's going to put the rounds on target. For this one, okay, pilot has the aircraft. For this one, I have so much control over it, I don't really know, you know, what the sight setting is, so I have to kind of extrapolate that on my own. Technique, I believe it's mentioned in the manual, is to just do like a test shot, note where they fall, and then kind of adjust from there. And you get so much dispersion out of these. I mean, if you're firing from a reasonably long range, you're going to get rounds onto target. Not maybe in a really tight, compact formation on the ground, but you're going to get rounds on target regardless if you have it right there in the right general vicinity. Okay, this is a lot of fun. Okay, so now that's that. Okay, let me bring up the the checklist again and see what else there is to do here. Do I have anything specific? No, there's nothing else in there specifically dealing with rockets. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go back over to the pilot station. I'm going to do some rocket employment. See, I know that these sight settings are more or less good for gun. I suspect that these will be perfectly good for rockets as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and get rid of the checklist again. Okay, I have the aircraft. I'm going to come around and do that same exact setup on this this target out here. I'm going to use those connexes to give myself an idea of a 3,000 foot slant range. And get set up for rockets. Okay, so let's see here. Rockets. Okay, I just need to put this switch to the 2.75 setting. I have my rocket pairs selector switch set to 0. I just want to see what that does and see if it actually fires in the 0 position. If it fires 1 or what that actually does. And eventually I'm going to come down and, you know, normally if I was firing rockets, I would not be trying to really blink at a specific target. I would just be putting them into the area trying to suppress anything that's out there in the distance. The chances of getting a direct hit with a rocket are actually pretty slim. It's just all about fragmentation and suppression of whatever enemy force is out there. So in a lot of cases I would be firing pairs and trying to get a lot of rockets into the area on one pass, but yeah, this time I'll just see what this does. Okay, so I'm up at about 1,500 feet. Let me turn and make sure I'm in the proper position. Okay, this will work. 1,500 feet. I'll roll in on this little connex out here that I can see. And when I get to 3,000 feet slant range, which I think I explained this might have been the last video, but these connexes are at 1,000 foot slant range distances. I'll fire at 3,000 feet. That's more or less what my sight is set up for right now. Okay, so rolling in. Decreasing collective. Okay, hard to really stabilize here, boy. Okay, yeah, and confirmed. The 0 setting on the rocket pair switch appears, at least, unless I just missed something on the overall setup here, appears to inhibit release. So I'll put that switch to 1. Let me, just as a test, fire on the target out here. So I'll just pick off one of these guys at random. Okay, 2 rockets out. Okay, that was 1 high explosive, 1 Willie Pete. So okay, yeah, that definitely confirms that the switch has to be in some position for a rocket fire. So let me come back around on the target that I was previously firing at. I'll make one more pass, and then I've got to head back for gas, actually. I'm down to a couple thousand pounds of fuel. I don't know, I might get everything in. I've really only got rockets to explore a little bit more, and then let the AI... Well, I've still got to get back there and do some door gunner stuff, too. Okay, my RPM is low for some reason. Okay, yeah, I had a lot of... I just had too much collective in for this weight. Okay, so I'll just come around one more time, set up in this little racetrack. And yeah, try to put a couple of rockets in on that target. Let me just double check my setting there. Okay, it was 1,000 meter slant range, about, what is that, 3,200 feet. I want 10 mils up. Right there, okay. Okay, and that was for 1,500 feet, so I do need to come... No, I am right at 1,500 feet. Look at that. Okay. I'll give myself a little bit more distance this time to set up on the roll-in. Give myself a little bit more time to stabilize. Maybe I should climb a little bit more. Maybe this is assuming a 1,500 foot release, because what I've been doing is rolling in and then establishing tracking. I've been getting down to probably about 12 or 1,300 feet before I release every time. So yeah, let me try this starting from 2,000 feet, and this should have me in a good setup to release at about 1,500 on this target. Okay, so target acquired, rolling in on it. Okay, let me watch my altitude this time. Okay, I'm already down to 1,500. Let me level up here. I'm going to watch my airspeed as well, so let me kill a little bit of this airspeed, and then I'll just kind of bump the nose down. That's handy, having the, you know, to see out there. Okay, there's 300,000 foot slant range. Okay, rolling in on the target. Ah, come on, track. Darn it. Okay, yeah, off that pass. That was just not not a very good run. Okay, let me come back around one more time. Okay, let me see. I lost a lot more altitude than I was expecting on the roll-in there, so it's all about just trial and error, you know, find a technique that works and make that your bread and butter move, you know? And I don't think, yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't really see myself getting into too many situations where I'm going to be firing from that high anyway, so let me go with a nap of the Earth setting. And just go with a straight-up zero, just straight-up 0 mils. I don't see myself diving and rolling in on targets in this helo too often. So now, okay, it's just back to the basic 0 mil setting. Now let me come around. Now when I reach 3,200 feet, I'll fire the rocket. Okay, this is a lot more realistic as far as what I would expect in a mission. Well, not necessarily more realistic from a real world point of view, but this is more of my style. This is the way that I know that I would fly it. Okay, so there's 3,000 meters. It's just so hard to stabilize. Okay, and those are long. I'm not really trusting these sight settings at this point. So yeah, that was just manifestly long. You know, up to, if I had to guess a good sight setting, it would be more like 30 to 40 mils, I think. Yeah, and that's to say, I mean, I have no idea. This works fine for gun. Come to think of it, I don't think this is for rockets at all. I think this is just for gun, and that I just need to come up with my own mil settings for rockets, or try to find a reference with sight setting for rockets, because that was just so far off of what I would have expected that, yeah, this just is not going to work for rockets, I can already tell. Okay, so let me just come around and I'll try this. I'll try 40 mils, and I'll go for that same distance. I think I've got a kind of that 3,000 or 1,000 meter, 3,000 foot slant range. I think I've got a good reference for that now. Okay, so let me kind of let me work with trim. Boy, I'm fighting trim as airspeed gets on the aircraft. Let me go for this target. Okay, let me go for this target. That's about right. Boy, it's so hard to hold it stable, but I mean, that's better. 40 mils is better. And, geez, I'm going to have to come up with sight settings for Willie Pete versus HE, because the Willie Pete flew further than the HE that time. That's what makes this fun. It's, you know, you just find something that works and you go with it. It's a lot of trial and error, which is, I mean, it's not supposed to be easy. That's the point of doing this. That's why I keep coming back. This is not easy stuff to do, even though it's, after doing it a while, it's a lot of fun and it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of thought that really goes into employing weapons and aircraft. But folks, I think that's about my time limit, and once again, boy, I don't know what's with me today, but I just cannot remember to set this timer. That feels like about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to put a break in here, no matter what the timing was, and come back with the next video, and have a look at the AI and see what they can do for me. So thanks again for watching. I will see you next time.